Is lesson planning taking up too much of your free time? Well, today in this video, we're taking a look at a website that has over 400 resources for your teens and adult classes, and it's a website built by teachers for teachers just like you. First, I want to say a big thank you to all the members of my YouTube channel. Their names are just appearing right here. And I just want you to know that I really appreciate everything you're doing to support the channel, and I hope that you're enjoying the exclusive videos that I'll be making for you. So in this video, we're taking a look at TEFLlessons.com. This website can provide you with materials that you can use in your face-to-face classes and your online ones. Now let's go and explore the website. Here we are at the TEFLlessons.com website, and the first thing we can do is look at the materials, and they're nicely divided up into all the categories that we need as teachers. So for example, we're looking at level, the grammar section, speaking and conversation, which is particularly important to me, vocabulary, and also some areas that other websites don't offer, which is, for example, study aids that are really useful for your students, and also classroom posters, so really good for those teachers who are working face-to-face. There's also a blog that looks at some ideas for the classroom, and also some testimonials of teachers that are currently using their materials in class, so that's really positive to see that there are other teachers around the world that are using this in their classes, and it's effective and useful for them too. The part you're probably going to use the most is the search function, which works perfectly. The first part I want to look at, which is my favorite, are the lessons. Now, the reason why I like these lessons is that they come with teacher's notes, and these teacher's notes go through step by step exactly what you need to do as the teacher in the lesson. There's also pronunciation guides at the end, which give you some insight into how words should be pronounced, especially with those who have difficulty making a difference between British and American pronunciation. And also, these lessons can last up to 2 or 3 classes, so it's not just material for one class. So I want to show you an example of one that I've used with my students. I wanted to do a lesson about space. So what I did was I went onto this website and I used the search function and I just typed in space. It wasn't just a lesson available. We also had some reading of vocabulary tasks, a word search, which is great for my fast finishers. But what I want to show you today is this lesson. It's called All About Space. And the reason why I really like this task was that it had the classic opening activity where you're building students' interest in the topic. Then we had a review of the planet names, and the thing that I love about the materials on TEFLlessons.com is that the imagery is perfect. Then we did this next activity as a game, so it also includes the comparatives and superlatives, in this case largest, smallest, brightest, etc. And this was useful because we'd actually already studied this in a previous lesson. So this acted as a review of that structure, but also a way of testing their knowledge on space. And then also there was some reading practice too. So what you can see here is that in this one lesson we're practicing a variety of skills. And also there was this really nice idea for a web quest. Now this is perfect if your students have devices, say in a face-to-face classroom, if they have mobile phones, but also if you teach online, you can put them into breakout rooms and you can get them to research these topics to then present in class. And I just want to show you the teacher's notes really quickly. You can see they're really detailed, and also towards the end we've got the pronunciation guides that I mentioned before. The next part of the website I want to take a look at is the grammar section. So for example, I had a B2 class, and one of the grammar topics that was coming up in our course book was the present perfect continuous. So what I was looking for online was some materials that would really crystallize and make it clear what the rules were and what the use was. So you can see here that this contained all the information my students would need to be able to use the right form and to use it correctly in conversation. So you can see here goes over the typical forms and positive, negative and question forms, and also it looks at the timeline, which is also a classic way of explaining how tenses work together. Also, seeing as it was the present perfect, we had to spend some time looking at for and since. Once we're done with the form, then there's this really nice personalized task here at the end where you're getting students to think about themselves but also use the language correctly. And at the end, this is a key part of any lesson, providing your students with time to reflect on what they've learned. For me personally, making a good impression in class is really important, and this doesn't just go with the teacher but also with the materials you provide your students with. As we can see with this grammar task, it's really clear and organized, and it's really easy to read for your students. I want you to compare this worksheet with this one here. Now, which one would you prefer to take into your classroom? This one or this one? I think the answer is obvious. The next part of the website I want to focus on is vocabulary. Now, recently with a group of B1 adult level learners, I was looking to build their awareness of collocations, and so what we did was we looked at the topic of housework. So all I had to do was go onto TEFLlessons.com and search for housework. So the lesson started with a really nice matching task using, again, really clear imagery that really communicated the meaning of the housework to the students. And so what we had at the bottom were all the phrases that had to match with the images. Once I'd done that, I then moved on to this really nice dialogue. So again, I had the students in pairs. So this was really easy to do because we had two people speaking, Charlie and Adam. I got them to practice this and then present this dialogue to the rest of the class. And as I said previously, it's not always just about one skill or system. In this case, we also have a grammar focus, which is giving students that support they need to be able to speak about their preferences when it comes to housework. Now, this final speaking task would be really easy for me because, let me see, I actually hate doing all of those. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're seeing all these great materials that you could use in your class with your students. But you're wondering, Charlie, is this free? Well, yes and no. You can make an account today at TEFLlessons.com and get access to 100 free materials. But if you want access to over 420 to be exact, you can sign up for a premium membership. How does 57 cents a week sound? Pretty good, right? Well, you can get that price by using my coupon code CHARLIE25 and signing up for either 6 months or 12 months. All you need to do is go check out the link in the description. The next 3 sections I want to look at in this website are all linked because we're looking at functional language you can use with your students, speaking tasks, and also pronunciation. And when I talk about functional language, I'm talking about material like this. So for example, here we have a worksheet that's looking at language for giving advice, which is really useful for preparing your students for any speaking tasks that involve this function. I found this task which was perfect for the first class I had with my students. So how it works is that the students would take on the role of a persona. And in this case, it really worked because they were teen students. And you know, some of those teens were quite shy about sharing personal information about themselves. So what I did was I asked them to take on the role of these people and share the information as if it was their own. This next area on this website is one that's often overlooked by teachers, which is pronunciation. Just by searching for the term pronunciation, we can see there's a lot of materials that practice key features of English pronunciation. So we're looking at, for example, silent letters, ED endings, which are a big problem for my students. Also looking at the schwa in really high frequency words in can and have. As we saw before with the vocabulary and grammar activities and the lessons, there's always a focus on this website on pronunciation, be it within the tasks themselves or in the teacher's notes. The next part of this website that we're going to take a look at is going to help you plan your classes in advance, because these are lessons that are dedicated to celebrations or special festivals in the calendar. So recently we celebrated St. Patrick's Day, and it gave me an opportunity to break the routine of the vocabulary and grammar tasks that I had planned and just spend some time learning about some culture. And again, this is really important for your role as a teacher to be able to impart some culture about things that you've learned around the world. The last part of the website I want to take a look at are the games. Where would we be as teachers without being able to use games in our classrooms? So just by looking at the website now, you can see there's a lot of opportunities to play games with your students using the material from TEFLlessons.com, and we can practice anything from phrasal verbs to prepositions to vocabulary to grammar. And let me show you one that I used. One area that my students really struggle with are prepositions, especially dependent prepositions. And so what we did here was we had a guess the preposition game. And so what we did was we cut these up again into pieces. We covered the answer, obviously. Students then had the card face down, turned it over, and had to guess the preposition. And at the end of this material, we also had a list of all the prepositions that were used in the game. So it gave me an opportunity to review them with them and see which ones they got wrong and which ones they got right. If you like the look of these materials, then why don't you go and check out TEFLlessons.com today, make an account and get access to those 100 free materials. But to really get the most out of what this website has to offer, I recommend signing up for 6 or 12 months by using my coupon code CHARLIE25 to make sure you get that 25% off. And remember, that will bring it down to just 57 cents a week. Thank you for watching this video on the website TEFLlessons.com. I hope that it can help you reduce the amount of time that you're spending on planning for your classes, and I'm glad that I can offer this bonus to you for this 25% off to everyone who watches my videos. I'll see you in the next one.